met when they were building. So that's the oldest star in the
What?
As long as you're important in one of those 5 categories. So what they should do is they send you paperwork first. They have to send you paperwork and agree to be present for the ceremony. So once they have that written agreement, they send that off to the Hollywood Chamber of Commerce offices. The chamber gets together once a year to decide what stars on the Walk of Fame. And to do this, they look for 3 different things. First, they look for your contribution to energy, making sure that you've worked at least 5 years in the category that you're in. Second, they look for your contribution to charity, making sure that you don't use all money into the world your fame and not selfish with it. And they list these contributions during your ceremony so that the public knows all the great things you do. And the third thing is $40,000. That's how much it costs to get 1 star on the Walk of Fame. Very big price, but it covers the entire life of the star. You'll never have to pay for it again. Bing Crosby had his
we just passed it.
broadcasting star. But right here in the corner of the floor is
Charlie Chaplin.
Oh, there's another one?
so that's his
Oh, is that why some of them have 2?
Oh, yeah, that's why. I saw Roseanne. Yeah, we passed it.
Ah, that makes sense.
a star on the walk. You're not one thing for your star. Come on, you too. Here we go. Advertise. That's premiere. Here's Walt Disney's star for television, but what is Walt Disney more famous for giving us?
Cartoons?
Cartoons where?
Disney?
On the big screen, right? The movies.
Oh, movies,
Walt
yeah.
Disney has a movie star. A little bit past
Barry Lewis.
The Singing Cowboy. This is one of
Oh. Look at them.
He was the first one to sing the song about the red-nosed reindeer, and he also wrote Santa Claus.
Yeah.
Here comes Santa Claus.
He wrote that. That's so cool.
Right down Santa
Very
Claus
good.
Lane. That's right. Now, do you know what Santa Claus Lane is?
Hollywood?
It is. It's Hollywood. Santa Claus Lane is Hollywood
Boulevard.
During the holidays, they have a parade. Today we call it Gene Autry's Days. It was called the Santa Claus Lane Parade. And one year, lots of power. Just second to last. Oh, everybody, look at this beautiful lobby here. This was the lobby from the movie Pretty Woman. So we're going to talk about Pretty Woman in just a few minutes, but this lobby is never open for us to see. This was in the movie. This played the alleyway between 2 buildings where they found the dead body near the beginning of the film. You never see the dead body, but you see the alleyway. But it's really just the interior of this beautiful building, the outpost. It's pretty beautiful. Sorry to interrupt my own story. It's just that was pretty exciting.
That's great.
So the Christmas parade is the most Santa Claus Lane parade. Just before Santa Claus. So everybody in the audience, including children, we're already excited to see Santa coming in the distance. Here comes Santa Claus, here comes Santa Claus, here comes Santa Claus. And that's all we heard the entire time. It started to write the song. Here comes Santa Claus, right down Santa Claus. You might make a left-hand turn here. We'll walk into Pretty Woman territory. So back in the late 80s, Higher Street, Las Palmas Avenue, as their big movie set, including the last block of Hollywood Boulevard. We already saw the Outpost building where they had the alleyway and the dead body, but if you look further up the street here, there's a 3-story building next to a palm tree. That was Vivian, played by Julie Roberts. That was
Yes.
the Las Palmas Hotel. And at the beginning of the movie, she comes down Hollywood Boulevard, walking right past where I stand. Yeah. At the end of the film, Richard Gere joins her. He climbs that fire escape on the left-hand side. He tried to join her off on the third floor.
That's the ending scene of Pretty Woman.
It's a really fun scene at the end of the movie. But at the beginning
Love
of the
it.
movie, Julia's coming down to work. She works on Hollywood Boulevard, and it's very, very close to where she lives, just walking distance. She's gonna walk down to Hollywood Boulevard and check out places that she works. So this clearly seen behind Julia. Goes over to the outpost building. Now there's a place that Julia and her friend Kat, played by Laura San Giacomo, loved to hang out. It was a nightclub called the Blue Banana. You guys remember the Blue Banana nightclub? Well, it was right over there where the Juicy Factory is. It was never a real nightclub. They invented it for the movie. So since it didn't really exist, they had to create a fake sign, a fake front to the building to make it look like it was the entrance to the nightclub. They put it in front of that space there, and people would walk in and out of it. When they walked inside, guess what? They didn't film anything else. They went to a movie studio. They filmed the insides of the nightclub somewhere else.
Somewhere else.
So just a little bit of Hollywood magic. The back alleyway was not behind this building. Probably wasn't even a real alleyway. Yeah, I don't know.
Now, where were the shops where she was supposedly in Beverly Hills?
So that was in Beverly Hills.
Oh, it was. Okay.
We don't go there on this tour.
No, no.
So yeah, she asked where were the shops and the two ladies. Those are actually Alright, so Rahman's Egyptian Theater. So the Egyptian Theater was the very first movie palace built on Hollywood Boulevard. It opened in October 1922, and this is the man who built it, Sid Rahman. He was a huge lover of the movies. He loved that they could take you away from the real world and transport you to exotic locations, worlds of fantasy. Places that you'd never seen in real life were recreated here in his theaters. So he made this look like an ancient Egyptian temple. And he was quite a showman as well as a really smart businessman. So when he built this place up, it was in order to attract people in and get people excited about going to see a movie. Try to imagine coming up here in the 1920s, finding this building, stepping away from the sounds and streets of Hollywood Boulevard, and becoming surrounded by this environment, kind of like a giant movie set. By the time you got up to these columns up ahead, you were probably so intrigued by what you saw that you wanted to go inside and see some more. But what would you have to do to go inside?
Okay.
You had to pay, that's right, very good. You had to give money. So it was a good way to get business. But even if you didn't know this was a theater, there would be a gentleman up on the rooftop there walking back and forth in Egyptian robes. And it looked like he was guarding the Egyptian temple. But in reality, he was just keeping an eye on us in the courtyard so that when the time was right, he can call down and tell us when the next movie was playing. So that would get us into the theater as well. And once we did, we'd be greeted at the doors by these ladies here, the Egyptian harem girls. They were the ticket takers who worked here, and they were just like any other ticket takers at any movie theater, except here they wore elaborate costumes to make you feel like you were part of that environment. So for opening night here, Sid Grumman wanted to do something special. He did not like the way the people of early Hollywood treated people in the movies. Did you guys know that Hollywood wasn't supposed to be the movie capital? Originally it was set to be Chicago. You guys all know where Chicago is?
Oh, really?
Illinois. It's about halfway across the country to the east. And that's where they were making all the big movies, except there was one problem with Chicago. They really had a lot of bad weather, blizzards and thunderstorms and things like that. And it's very difficult to make a movie when you can't control the weather. So they came out here looking for someplace easier to work with, and they found Los Angeles. And here, about 350 days of the year, it looks just like this, nice and sunny. You can make a blizzard if you really need to here, but it's harder to make a crystal clear day, during a thunderstorm. So they decided to take root here. Now, Hollywood up to that point was really just a quiet farming community. The people who lived on Hollywood Boulevard didn't actually live on Hollywood Boulevard. They lived on a little dirt road called Prospect Avenue. Hollywood Boulevard didn't exist yet. It was nice orange groves and flowers, and every once in a while a Victorian home where people lived in peace and quiet. Well, the movie business was quite the opposite. It was not peaceful or quiet. It was busy and noisy. So they weren't taken kindly to it at the beginning. People would post signs in front of their homes saying no dogs, no actors. If you worked for the movies, the landlords didn't want you. So Sid Grumman said, no. They need to be more welcoming. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to create a spectacular show, and I'm going to introduce opening night with the premiere of a new movie. It's called Douglas Fairbanks and Robin Hood. Everybody who attends is going to be dressed up by me in elaborate tuxedos and costumes, and I'm going to hire very expensive cars to drop them off at the front of the theater so they can get out and walk down this long red carpet past the spectators. As they walk down the red carpet, they're going to have their name announced over loudspeakers as though they're entering a party for European royalty. People who came, they saw this, and they thought it looked very glamorous. They'd never seen the movie industry look this way before. So they got excited about what they saw. They would learn the names of the people involved in the movies, and some of those people were later recognized. Where? On the big screen in the movie theater. These were the actors, and they became celebrities this way. Sid Grumman called his new celebrities movie stars. You guys know this term, right? Movie stars. How did he come up with this term? Where else can you see stars?
In the sky.
In the sky, that's right. You look up and you can see these beautiful stars shining down. Beautiful to see, but you can never touch them. They're always out of reach. Very intriguing that way. So Sid Grumman said, I want my movie stars to be just like this. One of his first movie stars was this man here, Douglas Fairbanks. Raise your hand if you've heard of Douglas Fairbanks.
Oh, yes. Definitely.
A couple of people only. All right, that's fine. You know, Douglas Fairbanks, this is where you learn about him. He was the very first movie star in Hollywood. So was his wife, Mary Pickford, and he starred in the first movie that premiered here. He also later became the very first person to host the Academy Awards, which is the Oscars today. So he was very, very important in early Hollywood. Do you guys know who Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie are?
Yes.
They were kind of like the 1920s version of them.
That's right.
So, and they were also good friends with Sid Grumman. People going inside this theater were in for a treat. There was elaborate architecture everywhere you looked that rivaled even the live performance theaters, where the rich and famous would go see things like the symphony, the opera, the ballet. Those people didn't come to the movie theaters. Movie tickets were only 5 cents. Anybody could afford them, so the poor people went. They would come to this theater, but so would the rich people because they wanted to see this elaborate architecture. And Sid Grumman rewarded them by bringing in live performance to a night of the movies. He called them Sid Grumman's prologues, and they took place on a little itty-bitty stage that went across the front of the movie screen. They would last up to half an hour with live actors, and then they would disappear, and you would stay and watch the movie afterwards. The prologues became very, very popular in all of Sid Grumman's theaters. And a lot of this architecture is no longer with us anymore. Back in 1994, the Northridge earthquake shut the building down and had to close it. They thought they would lose the building, but it reopened again in 4 years after the American Cinematheque had the outside restored to look just as it did in 1922, and they rebuilt the inside to be a working movie house. Now, today, they are fumigating the theater. So we're not going to go inside the auditorium, but I will take you into the lobby so you can see where some of the original architecture still exists. And we'll talk about how the theater has grown and changed over the years. So go ahead and follow to the side. Egyptian harem girls at the door, if you're here in the 1920s, this was the archway that was the doorway into the main auditorium, which seated over 2,000 people. So seats came all the way back to where these gold columns are today. Just watch your step here. There's 2 steps down. Right overhead, you can still see some of the original architecture. The ceiling fixtures here, and also the painted hieroglyphics all over the place. They've expanded out the lobby so they can have elaborate receptions and special events to go along with the screenings here, which they still do almost every night, but not really much night because of the fumigating. But there's more things here now. There's a concession stand in the lobby, and then over there on the right-hand side, there's a second screening room, which allows us to show 2 movies at once, and they often rent out the space to outside companies who will have film festivals all weekend long. Those dog statues that you see over there, those Egyptian jackals, look a lot like a lot of the statues that used to be here back in the early days of the theater. But these were created specifically for a movie in the 1960s. They were built for a film called Cleopatra, starring Elizabeth Taylor.
Yes.
And were sent over to the theater to be a part of that. By that time, most of those elaborate decorations were gone, removed from the side walls because they were bad for the acoustics after the sound was added to movies in the late 1920s. This is all we can see today. Normally I would show you the interior of the theater, but just so you know, it looks very modern except for the sunburst ceiling. That's the only part that was saved during the restoration of the theater, which is the ceiling of the auditorium. Everything else is pretty new. It's like